Hello everyone, Little Smith here. It's rather late, it's almost 12 o'clock in the morning. Not on Sunday morning. It's Saturday now. Right, we got another Daniel Larson update, and this is a more significant one. Because obviously April 9th has came and gone, and the actual case has happened, so we're going to read about it. Daniel had a change of plea hearing on the 9th. Wait a minute, on the 20th. Oh yeah, I've already read the first bit there. Oh wait a minute, it changed a little bit. Fuck it, I'll read the entire thing. On March 20th, Daniel reached a plea agreement with the government. As a result, the case was not expected to go to trial. Under the agreement, he is expected to face a sentence of 27 to 33 months in prison, with a credit for the 23 months he has already served. It's been 23 months already. The deal also includes a fine ranging from $10,000 to $95,000. How's he meant to pay that when he's homeless? I don't know. And 1 to 3 years of supervised release subject to conditions. Daniel had a change of plea hearing on the 9th of April. Daniel pled guilty to the charge of involving McDougall, and he will be sentenced on the 21st of July. The remaining 6 charges against him were dismissed as part of the agreement. Daniel also consented to the disposal of his phone, which had been held as evidence. Chad Oxman is Daniel's new legal guardian. May God help him. During the proceedings, Judge Regina M. Rodriguez reviewed the legal process in detail to ensure Daniel understood, to which he repeatedly responded with, "Yes, Your Honor." Judge Rodriguez asked standard biographical questions, including his name, age, and educational background. Daniel stated that he had completed high school and some college. Yeah, that other college time is not real college, by the way. With his field as study as music. When asked where he attended school, he responded, UCLA Film School, possibly referencing the fake UCLA classes. Yeah, like I said, not real. He was just trolled into doing it. Daniel was reported as being more on edge during this hearing. Approximately 10 fans/trolls were present in the gallery, including a few CU fraternity members dressed in suits. Observers claimed that Daniel did the angry tongue as he took his seat. Still does that fucking tongue. Ugh. Goblin face. It was also reported that Chad Oxman was confused about the number of people in the gallery. Daniel joked about his fame and referenced his music on iHeartRadio. His attorney, Jeffrey Fieler, appeared to be annoyed. Well, I would be if I was his solicitor. The two attempted to help Daniel remain calm and comfortable, and he appeared to lighten the mood, making a remark about Diet Coke served for lunch, and added that he asked the guard whenever it contained cocaine, which was followed by a laugh. Daniel was described as having a slightly outgrown buzz cut and long fingernails. Don't they ever clean him in his jail? And it was noted that he had gained a considerable amount of weight. Well, that's the short of it. Like that's actually interesting. But we're going to read this one from the 9th of April, live feed, April 9th hearing. Okay, 4:32 p.m. Key takeaways. Daniel officially pleads guilty to count 6, threatening McDougall. Professed sentencing is 27 to 33 months in a federal prison. Daniel will get credit for the time he was already served. Judge Rodriguez would make an official ruling on the 21st of July at 1 p.m. Daniel accepted a plea deal shortly after being found competent. Today, we saw exactly what the agreement was. Daniel agreed to plead guilty to count 6. The government agreed to dismiss counts 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 7. So in other words, he's only been charged on like one account. Daniel gave the FBI the rights to dispose of his Motorola Moto G stylus phone. They had evidence. That's gonna fuck him over. The US Marshals and BOP are monitoring attempted contacts to Daniel, and all attempts of contact while in prison and after his release, all to be reported to the court. So in other words, keep the hell away. Do not try and contact him, because otherwise you'll probably get done for it. Additional note: Dexo has published this okay, that's fine. This is just information about this article. That is misleading and confusing many people online. The headline reads: TikToker Daniel Larson has pled guilty to making bomb threats and faces 5 years in prison. We'd like to clarify that Daniel didn't plead guilty to any of the bomb threats, nor does he actually face 5 years in prison. The only charge is that Daniel was pled guilty to the related non-bomb threats made towards an FBI agent. The 6 bomb threat charges were dismissed, mainly because they knew he wasn't capable of doing that kind of thing. Daniel and the government has also agreed to a sentencing range between that. Okay, that's fine. We already know that bit. All right, so we got a lot of writing to go through. So let's get done. A threat is a serious statement expressing intent to instill fear, which under the circumstances would cause apprehension in a reasonable person, as distinguished from mere political argument, idle talk, aggression, exaggeration, or something said in a joking manner. It is not necessary that the defendant intended to carry out the threat, nor is it necessary that the defendant had the ability to carry out the threat. Count 6 of the indictment is not more than 5 years imprisonment. Maximum term of supervised 3 years. Maximum fine $250,000. $100 mandatory victim fund assessment fee. Restitution is not acceptable. Applicable in this case. Collateral consequences. The conviction may cause a loss of civil rights, including but not limited to the rights to possess firearms, vote, hold elected office, and sit on a jury. Speculation of facts. The factual basis for this plea is set forth below, because the court must, as part of its sentencing methodology, compute the advisory guideline range for the offence of conviction, consider relevant conduct, and consider the other factors set forth in that and that. Additional facts may be included below, which are pertinent to those considerations and combinations. To the extent parties disagree about the facts set below, the stipulation of the facts identifies which facts are known to be in dispute at the time of the execution of the plea agreement. The stipulation of facts does not preclude either party from presenting non-contradictory additional facts, which are relevant to the court's guidelines compensation to other that factors, or to the court's overall sentencing decision. The parties stipulate the following facts are true and correct. As described in more detail below, between the 3rd of July 2023 and 23rd of March 2024, the defendant Daniel Larson posted messages on social media in which he threatened to blow up buildings and kill a particular federal law officer. The defendant was physically present in Colorado, where he posted the threatening messages on social media, and the social media posts were transmitted on interstate comments. On the 23rd of July 2023, 3rd of July, the defendant posted on social media, Simp 1, next I will off the courthouse. They've destroyed my future, and no venues want to book me. So honest with distress I'm currently going through because of my jackass disability service, and the Denver County Court not believing me when I was on contract, and I had other things that were really going on when everyone called me a liar. Everyone is lucky that I don't go out and buy a machine gun and actually do what Bobby was saying. So yeah, they're basically using his videos as evidence right there. On the 7th of August 2023, the defendant posted, "I'm about to bomb DDRC." Immediately prior to this post, defendant posted bomb emojis. On the same day, the Developmental Disabilities Resource Center in Lakewood, Colorado received a call from an individual who reported that the defendant had made threats about a bomb in the building. The building was subsequently evacuated. They called 911 and the Lakeside Police Department responded. LPD conducted a safety sweep with a bomb dog on all 4 floors of the building, and no bombs were located, mainly because he's fucking lying. On the 29th of August 2023, the defendant posted a video in which the defendant stated, "And yes, I will nuke the White House. I will effing nuke the White House and nuke every single police station in the US." That same day, the defendant also posted, "I will drop nukes on the White House. I'm going to the White House right now." I don't know why that. Yes, he obviously didn't do it. He's too incompetent to do that sort of thing. But that should have been and a charge what they should have kept. Like, seriously, you cannot say that. You cannot even say that about a building like that. On the 26th of September 2023, the defendant posted to that, "I'm going to nuke the Colorado Capitol building, and I'm going to nuke the University of Colorado." A United States Secret Service agent, also working for the FBI task force officer, was involved in the investigation of the defendant threatening posts to social media. As part of that investigation, TFO 1 interviewed the defendant on or about August 18th. Subsequently contacted and interviewed the defendant on several other occasions, including August 30th, 2023, September 6th, 2023, October 3rd, October 19th, and November 30th. During these interviews, the defendant was admonished that the threats to blow up locations or harm other people could violate the law, and TFO 1 explained the elements of that and that to the defendant. In a social media post on or about September 26, 2023, the defendant acknowledged, "I might be in legal trouble with the feds after the threats I made." From his interactions with TFO between August 2023 and November, the defendant knew that TFO 1 was a TFO and a United States Secret Service special agent. On December 10th of that year, the defendant posted, "Stop calling me a paedophile or I will set that person's house on fire." McDougall's house on fire. Fire emoji, fire truck emoji. On December 25th of 2023, Christmas Day of all fucking days, the defendant posted on social media platform 2 a video in which he stated, "I will fucking have everyone offed." The defendant admits that he intended each of those communications as threats to TFO 1 and knew each communication would be viewed as a threat. So why the hell would you make a video like that then? On March 23rd, 2024, defendant posted a video on Simp2 which he stated, "I will nuke the FBI headquarters. The FBI can go ahead and press legal charges on me. I will just off their arse." Yeah, it's getting worse and worse with him, but like I said, like, all this we know, it's all been public knowledge for years. Entire agreement. The agreement disclosed to the court is the entire agreement. There are no promises, agreements, or side agreements, terms, conditions, understandings, or assurances, express or implied. In hearing this agreement, neither the government nor the defendant has relied or is relying on any other terms, promises, conditions, and assurances. So yeah, it's been dated and signed by Daniel, Jeffrey, and Jessup Mock. So, D. Abandonment. The defendant agrees that the below described property, which was seized from the defendant for evidentiary purposes, and which is currently in custody or control of the FBI, which was lawfully seized and is in evidence, contraband, or fruits of the crime to which the defendant is pleading guilty. The defendant, as sole and rightful owner, relinquishes and abandons all claims, title, and interests of the defendant has in such property, with the understanding and consent that the FBI may dispose of the property without further obligations. The specific property includes one Motorola Moto G Stylus mobile phone with that IMBI number. Yep, he'll go insane without his fucking phone. The advisory guidelines range resulting from these calculations is 27 to 33 months. However, in order to be as accurate as possible with the criminal history category undetermined at this time, the offence levels estimated above could be conceivably result in a range from 24 months, bottom of the category 1, to 63 months, top of the category 5. The guidelines range would not exceed, in any case, the cumulative statutory maximums acceptable to the counts of the conviction. Pursuant to guidelines that, assuming that the estimated offence level above is correct, the fine range for this offence would be $10,000 to $95,000 plus applicable interest and penalties. Pursuing the guidelines, if the court imposes a term of supervised release, the term shall be at least 1 year, if not more than 3 years. So, right. So, in other words, it sounds like wherever the case may be, after the July case, he might be released on like a 3-year suspended sentence, possibly. Okay. 4:31 p.m. courtroom minutes. Okay, so yeah, we got the parties, counsel, all this stuff. Courtroom minutes, change of plea hearing. 3:09 p.m. court in session. Court calls case, appearances of counsel, defendant present in custody. Also present at the defendant's counsel table is Chad Oxman. What a name to have, Chad. Defendant sworn in. The plea agreement, Court Exhibit 1, and statement by defendant in advance of plea of guilty, Court Exhibit 2, are tendered to the court. Defendant advise appellate rights, penalties, sentencing guidelines, trial rights, and other constitutional rights. Defendant enters a plea of guilty to count 6 of the indictment and admits to the forfeiture allegation. Court states its findings of fact and conclusions of law. Ordered. Court Exhibits 1 and 2 are admitted. Ordered. Defendant's plea of guilty is accepted. Ordered. The court defers approval of the plea agreement pending review of the pretense investigation report. Ordered. The probation department shall conduct a presents investigation and file a presents report. I think I'm saying that right. Sentencing is set for July 21st, 2026 at 1 p.m. at courtroom A901 before Judge Regina M. Rodriguez. Ordered. Counsel shall file their sentencing petitions and other motions at least 14 days before the sentencing date. Responsibilities or objections shall be filed no later than 7 days before the sentencing date. Trial set for the 20th of April in was that a new one? In courtroom A901 before Judge Regina, and all dates other than the sentencing are vacated. Yeah, that was meant to be the original trial date, but obviously he was like he had a plea agreement, and they changed it to the 9th to actually sort out like what the actual final charges are and what the results would be. And now they moved it, like the main thing, the main meat and potatoes is the in at the end of July. Any pending pre-trial motions on behalf of the defendant are deemed moot. 3:26 p.m. to 3:27 p.m. Bench conference. They only had like a minute for that. The court addresses contact of defendant by outside parties. Ordered, the Bureau of Prisons and the U.S. Marshal's Office shall notify the court of any contact, harassment or threats that has been made towards the defendant. In other words, this is when you do not get involved whatsoever. Or the defendant is remanded in custody of the U.S. Marshal. 3:39 p.m. Court in recess. Hearing concluded. Time in court only 30 minutes. Alright, we got normal writing now. 3:24 p.m. Source who was in the courtroom says that Daniel pled guilty to count 6 threatening McDougal, sentencing delayed to July. We are still waiting to confirm this via official court documents, and we will provide more detail shortly. Source also says that Chad Jesus, is his new legal guardian. In other words, taking over from Bob. Good luck, Chad. You need it. Daniel was more on edge this time. Yeah, because he knew shit was real. There was about 10 fans in the gallery, including broccoli heads from TikTok. Oh, fucking hell. Thinking Daniel was going to get released today. Why would you think that? Like, fuck off, go back to school. And the new CU fat members in suits. The source said that he walked up to the TikTok fans and said, "Yo, take your hats off and go in, and just be quiet because Viola is going to want us out of there." They went and put their hats in the car and ended up being allowed in. Daniel did an angry tongue as he sat down. The judge explained all the legal proceedings and made sure he understood, and he replied with about 15 "Yes, Your Honours." Judge Rodriguez asked Daniel basic questions like his name, age, and his highest level of schooling was. He said high school and some college. And then she asked what he studied in, and he said music. She asked where he went to school, and he said UCLA Film School. He had a slightly grown out buzz cut and a long ass fingernails, still chubbier, more like last time. Like I said, don't they like let people clean themselves in the mental hospitals where he was though? Oxman seemed confused as to why there were so many people out in the gallery. Daniel laughed and said, "Sorry, I'm famous," and then plugged his iHeart radio channel. Fielder was clearly annoyed. They could sense Daniel was tense and tried to calm him down and make him more comfortable, even getting him to laugh. Daniel lightened up the mood, saying that they were served Diet Coke for lunch today, adding that he asked one of the guards if it had cocaine in it, followed by a goofy, mischievous laugh. Yeah, drug joke. 3 p.m. Daniel's hearing was scheduled to begin. This is a live information update feed, and there will be no recordings or live streams anywhere as this is a federal court. 2:40 p.m. Right, we're going backwards. Our reporter is inside the courthouse and waiting for the hearing with Jeffrey Fuller, Daniel's attorney, and reportedly a group of around 5 fans trolls from Reddit. 11:28 a.m. Larson leak reporter is on the scene. Am I reading this backwards? Even the courthouse looks like a prison. Jesus Christ, all bars and, well, they ain't got bars and windows. Yeah. Oh, I think this is the courtroom here. Yeah, this is the courthouse. Yeah, it's interesting. Like, it's nice that someone actually got a video, like some actual like more proof of this. So yeah. Anyway, there's obviously the comments, the fucking loads of like comments and shit. Oh. Yep. And that was it. That was it. So that was uploaded obviously a little bit after the 9th. So yeah. So obviously the next time we'll be hearing more information, probably the last time we'll be hearing information about the court scene will be at the end of July, a few months time. So yeah, that's actually really interesting to read. Interesting in what he's actually getting charged for now and how long he's going to be like in for. Like now he's like, sounds like he's getting out but being under supervised. Now we know that they took his phone away and they're keeping it as evidence. We know how much he's going to be fined roughly. If we'll pay that, we've got no idea because he's homeless, and I don't know how a homeless person pays that much money anyway, since they're not meant to have. Well, since homeless people don't have money. So yeah, it was interesting to read about. So the next video will be a weekly recap. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys next time.